Welcome to Nameless Debate Radio, where radioactivity is contagious. You can join us in broadening our minds on the Nameless Debates Discord via the link below and even feature here yourself, if you've got what it takes.
For a reason.
Anyone who goes to the public school system within America has to say the Pledge of Allegiance, or at least stand
that's
up
true,
for it or something.
but
And in
still...
the Pledge of Allegiance, it says, "I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America."
What? So what?
And to the
Who
republic,
cares?
not the democracy,
So what?
the republic
That is
for
irrelevant.
which it stands.
Let me ask you a question.
It's the
What
Democratic Republic.
Yes,
right?
it is a democratic.
That means it's still a
It
republic.
means that it's
Yes,
also
it is
a
still a
democracy,
republic.
you moron. It is still a republic,
It's still a
but it's
republic.
also a democracy. Can you not grasp that?
There are
Can you not
elements of
realize-
democracy within the republic. It is still a
Yeah.
republic.
No,
Then
not
I
just-
don't actually agree to America being a republic. I'm just saying, according to the Pledge of Allegiance, it's stated as one.
And obviously, the Pledge of Allegiance was the most accurate thing in the Constitution. Okay, the way that the republic is
Why
organized
are
is
you arguing
democratically.
for a nation that you don't live in? This seems
Because
very
it's
strange.
it's a matter of true or false, mate. It is
Well,
true that
I'm just wondering how
that the
you
way
think
that
you
the
know the
republic
United
is
States
organized.
Constitution more than I do. This
Oh
just
my
seems
god!
amazing
Listen to
me.
you. The way the republic is organized is democratically. That's
Are
a
you
fact.
feeling okay? You seem a little aggravated.
Yeah, you're being really annoying, man.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I was able to have a whole conversation with Nifu and
I don't know. I
Vivi
feel
and
like
even
how you.
Clockwork yesterday, but it just seems never
Yeah,
you're
you're
in a
right.
situation.
You're right.
or
Nobody
some type
finds
of
you
argument.
reasonable. You got me.
It just I don't know. It's just it's an observation.
It's not about you,
I'm not
though.
gonna say that. I'm not gonna say whenever you get
Ugh.
into a situation you
Oh.
cause a problem,
Stop
because I'm not gonna make
talking.
something a causation thing. But
God.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say that.
All right. So we kind of sidetracked. We kind of got off the
We did.
rails.
We did.
But ultimately, the discussion at the center of the discussion is it's what was it again? Autonomy versus the right of a person giving the money, right?
Yes, but I think
that
that
was
for
one of
me,
Hold on.
for me, that's
Hold
not
on.
actually my argument. My argument is that if you're going to propose a solution to a problem by replacing a system that is in place now, then any problems that are currently dealt with by that system are your inherited responsibility to account for in your new proposal.
Hold on. Hold on. Nefu, what was your position on this?
He
My
just
position
said-
on.
he
I'm sorry. My
gave it.
position on what?
On this topic.
His was one of the positions is more important.
I'm not
that
sure
people
what
can
you're
apply.
asking me. If I'm honest, I'm not sure what you're asking me.
So I was here for a minute and then I left, but I know
Mhm.
you were arguing this discussion. I just didn't know what position you were taking.
I'm in a general sense, I'm of the position that if there's a symptom, right? If there's a symptom and we're trying to find a solution, it's not that I'm disregarding the symptom, and I'm not I gotta pee. I gotta pee, and I've been tired of this conversation for 10 minutes. If I'm just being honest, okay, no, but hold on, okay. So I'm saying that I was arguing because there was two issues that I was addressing. I was saying that we can solve one and then solve the other, and somehow or another, I was tasked with coming up with a one-size-fits-both solution for solving both problems. And I understand the transfers of responsibility. I'm not even necessarily against that, and I get that. I get where that's coming from. I get your mentality with regard to that position. I get it. I understand it. But that isn't even in opposition to what I said, which is that there could just be we call it two problems and solve two problems.
I don't think you could sell that.
Hold on, man. I wasn't done listening to you. Hold on a second. Continue, Nefu.
Yeah, well, I was just saying, I have the point of contention, I guess, is in the implementation, what method we choose to approach the problem with, and I think that's really fundamentally, it's just it's probably born of either a misunderstanding or a lack of understanding of long-ranging consequences and long-term implications of removing the system in the first place. The system in this instance being welfare.
Okay. Now, Matt, what was your position? Go ahead and say it.
Matt has been gone.
My position was that essentially
So you cutting out?
Yeah, he is. But
Cutting out.
I think. All right. I think I know his stance. I'm gonna try to speak for him, maybe. But
Yeah,
okay,
give it a
there's
go.
2 points. There's 2 points. The first point being actually I'm gonna go from the second point first because that's more fresh in my mind, and that was if you are trying to solve a problem by removing something, right? Then you were gonna have to inherit the responsibility of fixing the problem that thing was already fixing while providing that alternative solution. And that was his first guy.
Yeah, you can't. If you're gonna solve a problem, you better have the solution for. If you have a solution to a problem, you apply that, and it creates another problem. Then you better have a solution to the other problem, right? Or something like that.
And I don't necessarily disagree.
Close. No, that wasn't exactly it. It was that if the way that you solve a is by removing a system which already addresses a different problem, then in your proposition that that system be removed, you'd better account for the inherited problem that is now not addressed.
Yeah, I agree with that, because then you won't know if anybody's going to come up with a solution unless you actually have one.
Yeah, and again, I don't in no principal manner do I disagree with that. There is a problem that would then need to be addressed. But I'm speaking to the consequences of having implemented the system that doesn't fix the problem. And this is sorry. I'm gonna apologize immediately because I know
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. Fuck. Let me start that sentence over again. I apologize. Okay. By proposing a solution to a problem that necessitates the removal of a program that currently acts as a mitigator to a problem. I accept that is, I guess, then, it's obviously non-fixed to that situation. But what I was arguing for in the first place, 2.5, 3 hours ago, is that the problems caused by that system could be repaired, and under that new paradigm, we could then fix those problems. But what I can't propose, my weakness in this, the air quotes debate, is that I can't propose a one stone, two bird solution. That's been my position this whole time, is I don't have the one stone that kills these two birds.
And so then it seems like it's a subjective evaluation which matters more. And I personally think that it matters more to taxpayers, who are the ones who have to vote, that that the money that they pay into the social support systems through taxes isn't just spent on recreational activities by people who aren't contributing to society. I think that actually matters more to taxpayers than the restrictions on autonomy for those people who are on welfare, who are already relying on free money.
Okay, and my contention with that is that if the amount of money being contributed by the taxpayer does not fluctuate, they will not notice an increase in their bill next year, and the implementation of the plan that I'm describing has a long-term economic boon that is inherent in its implementation, that is a non-change for the people who are concerned where their money is going. I don't agree. Right? It's a non-change. Okay, well then there's our first actual authentic point of contention.
Let's put it this way. Is it a non-change if my money being cash instead of food stamps distresses me more? That makes me more upset. That is a change.
And then I would say that's like, hold on, you have to separate your emotion from the function of taxes.
No, but I'm saying that taxpayers aren't separating it. Taxpayers, generally speaking, vote based on their emotional temperament. Okay, that's like very well known.
Yeah, but this is the mantle you took up 3 hours ago that I told you you can't assume the knowledge. You're not omniscient in this instance.
No, but what I'm saying is that a generic taxpayer is, in my opinion, by definition, just like based on the value structures we would assign to a taxpayer, more concerned that their money isn't wasted than that the people that they're giving free money to have complete autonomy. They're more concerned with their money not being wasted. Okay. But like in general, that's my opinion.
I think on another note, what do you call it? Autonomy versus necessity, right? And I think psychologically speaking, which is objective, like from an objective standpoint, necessity rule is on higher up on the scale.
I agree with that.
Okay, hold on, but yeah. So my issue then is that it's to the benefit, whether it's immediately identifiable with this like average taxpayer, person that we're using as a frame of reference, like whether it's immediately apparent to them is of little consequence to me.
No, it's not. That's what determines whether or not the thing gets put into place. That's what I'm saying, is the taxpayer votes on who his representatives are, and representatives listen to the constituents, okay? So if a lot of constituents aren't happy with a policy, it doesn't get passed. It isn't put into practice as law.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
But if the system is having, if the current system is having a demonstrably negative effect on the economic growth potential, then I guess, yeah, to repeat Joseph, it's a matter of coming up with a way that we value this. Like, are we going to value our rage against people having fun, or are we going to value the long-term economic health of our system?
I honestly think that most conservatives would say, I value my money that matters to me.
You're wearing the mantle of the common man, dude. You're speaking.
No, I'm not.
I'm saying
Joe in my opinion.
Okay, so
most
I think
people care more about certain things than others.
Yes,
It's your opinion. You can't prove it, so this is a non sequitur.
Wait,
no,
Okay, so what should we? Okay, so what are you guys saying? If they could care about, what should they care about if they had certain knowledge?
If they had the knowledge of the long-term economic potholes, so to speak, that they're creating, like the long-term economic disadvantage that they're generating, that they would vote differently, because an emotional vote versus an informed vote is. I mean, do I even have to?
Okay, so how are their disadvantages?
I'm sorry,
I'm forgetting.
What's up?
I'll tell you that the left wing will definitely favor autonomy, and the right wing will definitely favor
Restriction.
what do you call it? Not necessarily restriction, but like the second point that Nifu was talking about.
I think I'm missing some information. Why is the autonomy so important here?
Okay, so
the proposition is that autonomy is integral to a healthy economy. That's the proposition.
Okay.
I guess it's all about how you market it to the voters, right? So
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, because like if you market it to the voters as, and this is going to improve the economy, this is going to create jobs.
Data then, right? You'd have to bring them data. They wouldn't just say a word for it.
Yes, exactly. So, all right. So the data part of it being economically better, we need to actually investigate in that. I don't think any of us actually have any previous prior knowledge of this.
Hold on. I can't prove that things would get better if you changed welfare to money, but I can prove that things have gotten worse in limiting the spending potential.
I would love to
like
see
switching from that. No. All right. Well,
things have gotten worse in one axis and better in another.
What is the axis that it's gotten better at? So I know what I'm aiming
Drug
for.
use has gone down.
Wait. No, we're talking on a different dimension now. I think we're particularly talking about the economic. What do you call it? I don't know. We're just talking about the economy.
But you have to take both into account. That's what I'm saying. Is if you're going to say,
does anybody see how we got back here?
There's a benefit in one axis. You have to say what that benefit costs in another axis. You have to. That's part of the solution.
Okay. Yes. So now we're talking about in the first dimension first, before we get to the second one, right?
Yes. So you need data to demonstrate that things have gotten worse. But if you're going to say that the current policy has made things worse, then that necessitates you saying that if they have got better in any other axis, especially an axis that the policy is aimed at, you do have to mention that. Otherwise, you're being biased in how you present the data.
And I agree. I will now accept the responsibility of having to answer this independent issue, having fixed. Because here's what you're conceding when you're even saying that. By the way, here's what you're conceding. Here's what's implicit in your conception or your statement. Right? Is that we agree that there's been mitigation by this implementation, right? Mitigation by imploring or you implementing food stamps, right? So we're agreeing that there's been drug money mitigation, right? But I'm telling you that as a direct consequence of that, which is why Yosef chimed in the first place, it says we have to make a value judgment on which one of these problems is the bigger problem. That the long-term problem with staying how things are now is dwarfed by what would happen if we shifted back. I'm essentially taking a step back. I'm saying let's go back to before we created the secondary problem in an attempt to quell the first problem, which I don't think food stamps were conceptualized with the intent to fight drug.
That was the intention of the policy.
There's
multiple reasons, and that's one of the main reasons.
Yeah, and it's just it's not worked. It's worked to some marginal degree.
Yeah.
But
so I think what we would have to do then is compare the numbers. You could say it hasn't, but first of all, there's a long-term detriment and it hasn't worked that well. And then I go, okay, well, like, let's look at what will happen if we change it. All right. The short-term detriment shoots up dramatically. All right. And maybe the long-term detriment is mitigated, but then the short term needs solving right now, not tomorrow, right now, because it's gone up to full capacity again.
Okay.
There is a drug problem and it's not being dealt with. You need to solve it. Okay, that's one of society's problems.
Okay. Well, I don't want to imply that, like, see, I'm not making an appeal to value here. I'm not saying No,
but we could compare the numbers. We could compare the numbers on how effective the change will be versus how effective this change has been. Give those numbers to the voters, and they can make the evaluation.
Okay, yes, I agree. I agree with that approach, and yeah.
Okay. Yes.
And if we do, hold on. But if we do that, like, we tell them, all right, here's what we were aiming for. Here's what happened. So we need to, instead of doing food stamps, we need to do an actual real money subsidization.
And this is what we think that'll look like statistically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't see.
I
don't even
that.
fully. If I had the time machine, I'd go back and figure out exactly how in the hell it took us 4 hours to get here.
Well, I'm pretty glad that you guys could come to the same agreement in terms. That's pretty impressive in a debate in which we started off with very opposing polar opposites.
Yeah, I agree. I think it demonstrates pretty clearly that if you take the time to sort out what you're saying and what the other person's saying, because we're all confused about both what we're saying and what other people are, then we can usually agree on the matters.
Yes.
Yeah, but you guys have just been repeating yourselves for like the past 2 hours, and you haven't even gone anywhere.
I think
but we did go somewhere.
We did arrive at the same conclusion, and we did definitely touch upon some interesting concepts.
Arrived on the same conclusion that's been like the same conclusion for the past 2 hours.
No, because we weren't agreeing at the point. We are agreeing now.
Okay, so Matt, would it be okay if, like, the voters were okay for less restrictions?
Yeah, of course.
If they could pay their tax money and have this less restrictions?
Yes, if they consent, that's perfectly fine.
Yes.
Okay.
That's perfectly fine. There definitely going to be like.
Thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe, and join us in the Nameless Debates Discord. We hope to see you there.